because it was well received?
Yes. Yeah, it was. I mean, they launched, so we have essentially three brands under our umbrella right now. Cheeba Chews, which is what everybody knows, but we also have Green Hornet gummies and our Daba chocolate bars right now. And we're actually about to add a fourth product line to it that, haven't really talked too much about with anybody yet, but in the coming weeks, we're adding a brand new product line as well.
Well, fucking
So-
say it here. I didn't take 20 minutes out of my day to just talk about the hits.
I don't know. You guys
Break
really
some
want to know about
news.
this new stuff? You want to be the first ones to hear about it?
Do it.
You're going to get me in trouble with my marketing guy, probably.
It's all right. It's just my mom and Chris's mom listening to this 3 years running.
I'll probably have my mom listen to it too, so it's fine.
Shout out Miss Kilpatrick. You raised a great son. Hard worker.
We are in the final stages of launching a brand new product line that we're calling Melts. And these are an all-natural, limited ingredient, vegan-friendly rosin fruit chew.
Oh.
So we're taking an all-natural, 100% fruit puree and turning it into a fruit chew candy. Pâté de fruit is what we're mimicking off of. And if I was French or could do an accent, it'd be like pâté de fruit, something along those lines.
Hey, did you minor in French?
No, I took French 1 like 3 times.
Nice. That was like me with algebra and public speaking, weirdly enough.
And we're just getting ready to launch it, but it's going to be an all rosin-based edible, pairing specifically those high terpene, fresh pressed water hash rosins with the fruits that we're doing. So our initial launch is going to have 3 SKUs. We're going to have a strawberry, an apricot, and a coconut. And it's basically a small little fruit chew made with fresh fruit puree. 4 or 5 ingredients is all that's in it. It's the most simple, basic, natural thing that we can get out there right now. And they taste absolutely amazing.
The eye roll there kind of sold me, Chris. Did you see it? It was kind of like oh shit.
Yeah,
It's
right, unbelievable. Great. I mean, I know you guys got hooked in with our single strain rosin stuff, which is where this idea bred from. And really excited for the melts as one aspect of our kind of rosin line that we're doing, but it all stemmed from doing our experimentation, our R&D with the single strain specific taffies and gummies that we just launched back in December.
So like you mentioned, you just launched those new product lines. Was it that y'all were seeing an evolution in the market of the I guess the consumer that y'all wanted to expand? Or is it that y'all were getting crazy in the R&D field and you're like, oh fuck, these things slap. We need to start just making these too.
A little bit of both. We're always looking for new ideas. Our R&D kitchen here is constantly going with things, trying different ideas, different candies, things that fall in our wheelhouse, things we like. We've got several other things in our kind of lineup coming down the pipeline, but so we're always trying different stuff. But the single strain specific taffies that we launched back in December, we're about a year in the making, trying to get to the point where we can actually release the product. We started seeing the prevalence of rosin on the market and seeing it picking up. Saw some other edible brands in other states release rosin products, and when we tried them, a couple of them in particular, we loved them. They were great, and so we kind of wanted to take what they did, but put it into the Cheeba Chews mind frame and mindset. And what we wanted to do was actually kind of up the game a little bit from what others were doing. They were making great edibles, but we wanted to take specifically those terpene and flavor profiles and match them to our candy profiles and do some real heavy testing on everything to make sure that we're giving folks both the best experience possible, but also the best flavor possible. Really looking for that strong live rosin, fresh frozen smoking type flavor. I mean, really, that's what we're looking for, but in a way that it actually is enhancing the edible, that it's taking those flavors and making something completely new and amazing out of it.
So I got a question, because I just sampled the Green Hornet.
I thought you were about to say all of them.
No. Love the packaging, by the way. But I just sampled the Green Hornet, and you talked about the live rosin. So is that just a fairly new component in the edible game to increase like that flavor, or how does that differ from like the previous like non resin
Yeah.
ever, I guess.
So we're seeing this like really kind of fun swing in the evolution of the cannabis market, because in the beginning, everybody just wanted the edible to get you high. I don't care what it tastes like. I just need something. I don't want to smoke, but I need something I can eat and it's going to get me high. Nobody cared what it tasted like. They all tasted, not all of them. A lot of them tasted awful. Cheeba Chews tasted amazing. I mean, that's where we started. We had an edible product that actually got you high, but didn't taste awful. So now we fast forward into the rec market and we start getting more recreational users buying them. They don't want to taste the hash. They don't want to know that it's in there. What they want to taste is the candy. And so we got to a point where we were trying to strip all the flavor of the oil out as much as we could. I mean, we were paying extra to get oil that had flavor stripped out of it, so there'd be less flavor in some of our edibles. And, that's what people were looking for. Now there's a subset of people, and that subset is starting to grow, who are looking for flavor in their edibles from the hash, but the right kind of flavor, right? Not just that bitterness that you used to taste, but actual flavor, which is where the terpenes come in and where the fresh frozen and the live rosin comes in, because you're actually preserving those terpene profiles. And you can take them and pair them with those different candy flavors and just have a lot of fun with it. And it's amazing. We are trying to source a wide variety of rosins. So we have a whole R&D QC program that happens for every strain that we release. And it starts with just talking to different suppliers. It took us a good year to find a bunch of suppliers that we could get stuff from. At first, nobody wanted to sell us anything. We were looking into trying to figure out how to do it ourselves. And we're not extractors. That's not what we do. We want to
Are
stay
y'all
in R&D.
still on the hunt for that? Because I feel like the market's been so crazy recently that like people are asking us if we know folks that need any distillate or need any, whatever the fast acting stuff is. And I'm like, shit, I feel like it's everywhere. So, it's crazy in that innovation breeds, or competition breeds innovation, but also makes it, harder to play the game itself.
Yeah, it has gotten better for us because we've built relationships with people now. We spent a year developing those relationships. We've been R&Ding these products since middle of last year and just released them back in December for the first time. And we're continuing our R&D. Every time we get a new rosin and then we want to try to test it out, we're going through a whole QC panel of sensory analysis. Just look, smell, taste. Well, not taste at that point, but look, smell, appearance. And then we're trying to match that to flavors, looking at the terpene profiles. Then we actually produce the edible, and then we do it all again. Look, smell, taste, all of that to see what the flavor is. And you can be amazed at we've got these rosins that smell amazing. They're great. We go to put them in an edible and wouldn't know it was there, which is not what we want. We want people to taste it. We want people to taste all the good flavors. And so we are doing a lot of experiments to find what terpenes, what strains of flower work best with the candy flavors that we have, and then also developing new candy flavors to go with that. So it's a lot of work, but it's the best kind of work.
I know. I was about to say, damn, I wish I'd have done whatever you went to school for, but then I started thinking about it and I was like, fuck, he's just taking some of the fun out of it. But if you can catch a fade at the end of the day, then I imagine it's still a pretty good time.
It's still a pretty good time.
You know what's great? Like after trying this Green Hornet, I did get that taste of like that kind of terpenes and things. But at the same time, I feel like what happens with a lot of edibles is after you ingest it, you get that like bitter aftertaste.
Yes.
And this lingering kind of nastiness. And I did not get any of that with the Green Hornet. I thought it was great.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly, we don't want that bitterness. We don't want that hashiness. I think of it a lot. I know you guys are big craft beer guys, as I am as well. And when we start seeing those hazy IPAs hit the market, we had to re-educate people on what an IPA really was. And I think of rosin very similar to that, right? Because you had to re-educate people. This hazy IPA, it's about the flavor and aroma of the hops, not about the bitterness. And we're using a process to get the flavor and aroma and not the bitterness. Same thing with rosin. We're using a flavor, the producers who are making the rosin are using a process to get those flavors and aromas and not the bitterness. And so that's really what we want. We want they're true culinary pairings. We're trying to make a better edible experience with those rosins. Which Green Hornet did you try?
I tried the grape gummy purple punch.
Purple Punch. Yeah, that one came out great. It was really good. The first release that we did was a mandarin orange. I think it was gelato cake. Oh man, it was just so good. It was delicious. It just melts in your mouth.
I see how much he appreciates food when he's describing his edibles because it looks like one of those like savory bites, not the sweet or tart bites, because he like slides down a little bit in his chair and y'all can't see it because our podcast is
Yeah, I was gonna say it's great for great radio.
yeah, but it is soon to be a video podcast, as we debriefed earlier to everyone on the intro. But I appreciate that you have that care and that passion, and that you look for those subtle notes that would, turn you away from a food or a beverage in the same sense you would do it in your edible and your craft also. Because I mean, oftentimes some folks don't even want to taste it at all. And then some folks are like, I want to know what's there. And then that's where you find like the differences between, maybe your Wanas and your dialed ins, or, so when you come up with products, it's like, how do we keep, the happiness of our current clientele, but also attract folks to come try this out instead of your wilds or your dialed ins, So it's a fickle line you kind of have to judge. It's like when you do a March Madness poll and someone's like, how did I get left off? It's like, you can't appease everybody, but you're trying to attract more eyes than you currently have on it.
No, and I think something too with the rosin edibles that's going to open people's eyes as they try it, because people are gonna, they're gonna if they don't want the flavor, they're gonna hesitate a little bit, right? If they're not looking for that. But the effects of a rosin edible are also something that people should be talking about. I mean, I've been, sampling them now for some time as we're going through R&D and trying to figure this out. And they just absolutely hit better. They hit quicker. They hit smoother. They hit fuller, and just everything about the rosin edible high is a better experience comparatively to a standard distillate edible. It's just a much better feeling.
So I got a quick question on your edibles. Now, when you mentioned you guys are planning to release like a vegan edible, what is it that makes most edibles not vegan?
So in the Green Hornets in particular, it's the gelatin.
Okay. Yep. Oh, that's right. Okay.
So in our next line, it's pectin based, which comes from fruit. So that allows it to be vegan. And then one of them has a little bit of agar in it too, which is also from seaweed, emulsifier from seaweed. So that allows it to be vegan. Also, fun fact, which we had to research and look into ourselves, white sugar is not vegan in most cases. They use a bone char to help process it, which is something we learned in this because we very much wanted it to be a vegan friendly product. And when we saw that, we're like, oh, what sugars are we using? Oh, beet sugar. We're good.
Yeah, you don't want the vegans to come out attacking you.
No, not at all. I would never wish that.
As someone who's having a vegetarian dinner tonight, I feel I can speak for all healthy people. No. I will go ahead and say I appreciate you not putting ground up bones in our supper tonight.
We'll keep looking out for you, man. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about the soon to be released and the differences of a couple of the products that we have coming out and that just recently were released in December. One thing I'm curious about, it's I guess a grain bar, which is the CBN scene. I asked you earlier about how there's people, the different buying demos, or how the consumer's buying differently. How is the shift? Have you seen more folks buying the CBN, the sleep aids, the nighttime kind of gadgets, or those than we have seen in recent months or years? Because I feel like we're seeing a bigger push on that recently.
Yeah, so I think I have to fact check it, but I'm fairly certain we were the first ones in Colorado to release a sleepy product. We did it. We released our Sleepy Chews just before COVID hit back in whenever that was 2 years ago. And it is our number one taffy now. It is neck and neck with our old number one, which was our Indica chocolate Cheeba Chews. And so the Sleepy Time, the Indica obviously has CBN in it. Our Sleepy Time has a lot more. Our Sleepy Chews have a lot more CBN in it. And so, we saw a huge growth in that. And then we started releasing our whole wellness line that we have. So we actually have our Sleepy Chew, which is a CBN heavy nighttime edible. We have our Trifecta, which is a CBG, CBD